Look at that. Kyler Murray's back. Offense is humming.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. Halftime show. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Cardinals take a 17-14 lead going into halftime. It was a weird half. It was a weird half. Cardinals look like world beaters. Then Cardinals look like Cardinals. And then that long sustained drive at the end of the half really kind of put a positive, cherry on top with what was kind of an up and down half. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen. I'm on live on YouTube and Twitter Spaces right now. It's week 12. With Kyler Murray back, with DeAndre Hopkins back, Hollywood Brown back, even though Rondale Moore is out, seeing Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, and Kyler Murray on the field together is pretty cool. It's an upgrade. And we only had, to wait 12 weeks to see it. Couple takeaways here. Negatives first. The only differentiation between where the Cardinals are now and where they could be, which is potentially up 10 more points, is turnovers. I know the fourth down pass by Kyler Murray, there was an interception, would have been a turnover on downs anyways. James Conner, that fumble hurt the Cardinals. I'm not sure what to make of this offense still, and we're in week 12. We saw two long, incredibly sustained drives, both ending in touchdowns. One DeAndre Hopkins catch and run, and the second one just to round out the half. They looked competent. They were good drives, and they were able to move the ball down the field against an average defense. And the only reason I say average is because a lot of their guys are hurt and have been all year. Going into halftime, you look at Kyler Murray's player okay, he's healthy. He's obviously running the ball more. They either infuse that into the offense, or what I think is he's just taking what the defense gives him. And we saw in the last drive that, there were some plays that were run, that were executed. A lot of it was just him finding time and finding open space and making Cliff's job look pretty easy. James Conner looks good. So what the Cardinals are doing is they're doing what everybody else in the NFL has been able to do against the Chargers, which is run the ball effectively. Now, save the putting the ball on the ground by James Conner, the run game looked good. I mean, Kyler Murray's got a bunch of yards running. James Conner had 54 yards rushing in the first quarter. They're running the ball effectively. And all that does is open up the pass game, which should be, the focal point down the stretch with both Hop and Hollywood on the field together. So numbers-wise, if you look at this, and I don't really like looking at halftime numbers, but they've got their 13 first downs. They're 5 for 7 on third down. They've got more total yards. They ran for 110 yards, but, they only have one penalty, but they have two turnovers. Time of possession is there. But the turnovers have killed the Cardinals this year. They've killed them. It's what flipped the script on Monday night last week when James Conner, kind of was lazy when trying to catch a ball with one hand, tipped off, interception, and the game kind of switched in the 49ers' favor and was relentless for the rest of the game. But if you look at how this offense is played, okay, you got to be inspired. You got to be happy that Kyler Murray's back. Kyler Murray still knows how to play football. If anybody tells you otherwise, have them watch the first half. Okay? Have them watch the majority of Kyler Murray's career. This whole Kyler Murray isn't good at football thing, it's for the birds, man. It's for the birds. Whether you like him or not, you got to kind of admit the kid is pretty good at football. It's pretty good at football. Now, I saw a couple Cliff Kingsbury isms that we've seen since 2019, one of which was 3rd and 1, right after the Chargers scored. He decides to run an RPO where Kyler Murray comes up short instead of just giving the ball to James Conner and having him run it up the gut, which is pretty much what they've been doing. whether it be traps or just halfback dives, whatever they've been running has been working so far. And when you need a first down and you're on, your side of the field, you decide to run an RPO and put the ball in your quarterback's hands, which putting the ball in Kyler Murray's hands to run the ball is usually a good idea. On short yardage, that's not the time. That's not the time to do it. You give the ball to James Conner, you run it up the gut, you get a first down, and you move the hell on. But, okay, so that didn't happen. Okay, so fourth down, 4th and 1, probably 4th and half a yard. Instead of running the ball up the gut with James Conner, or having Trey McBride run 3 yards and turn around, or getting Hollywood Brown in space, even behind the line of scrimmage would be okay there. You throw the ball all the way down the field to DeAndre Hopkins. It's just like, and an inlet of this is, well, it's Kyler Murray throwing the ball. It's not Cliff Kingsbury. It's Kyler Murray's fault. When it's the number one option for a play, you throw the ball to the number one option. And when it's a timing route, when it's a feel route down the sidelines, you throw it. That's when the play is called, and that's the play that's called. You run the play that's called. And the fact that we're still, let me do some quick math, 16, 32, 49, and 12, 61 games into the Cliff Kingsbury experience, and he still can't call the right play call on 4th and 1, blows my mind. On 3rd and 3, blows my mind. It's the same thing. Down the field, down the field, down the field. And it saved the Cardinals a couple of weeks ago with the Rondale Moore catch on 4th and medium. But if you can just run the ball with James Conner, who has been a world beater today, aside from the fumble, I don't understand why you're throwing the ball down the field still, since 2019, 61 weeks later, 61 games later, and we're still dealing with the same things. The defense, pass rush looked great. I mean, they weren't even sending extra players initially. They were rushing 4. J.J. Watt got home. Zach Allen has been a terror. Cam Thomas got a sack. Definitely a defensive breakdown on the Devontae Carter catch and run into the end zone. But I think all in all, the defense has been fine. Byron Murphy's out. Marco Wilson's now hobbled. They're just continuing to lose players. And with Justin Herbert there, Keenan Allen, they've still got weapons, even though Mike Williams is out. Austin Eckler has kind of been held at bay. The Cardinals were on the field for 16 minutes of the first half, which is the most ideal of all of this, is they're able to stay on the field. Even with the turnovers, they still have a halftime lead, which is something you'll take. Now, going into the second half, continuing long, sustained drives. 10 minutes, I believe it was 10 minutes of their 16-minute time of possession in the first half was 2 drives, both of which ended in touchdowns. They were on the field for 10 minutes and 50 seconds on 2 drives, both of which ended in touchdowns. And if the Cardinals can continue to establish the run, get James Conner going continuously, it'll set up the play action. It'll set up the down the field throws, which is going to be a part of this offense. It has been. With Hollywood Brown here, he's a guy that could take the roof off the defense. And they had 2 chances at it. Kyler Murray made a pretty bad throw the first time. Second time, the timing was off and it landed out of bounds. That's going to take timing. It's going to take timing. But when it clicks and you can line up Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins on the same side of the field and ask the defensive backs, okay, choose. The Cardinals are going to figure this out. If they can move to 5-7 going into their bye week, crazier things have happened. Okay. That'll give everybody a week to rest up. 12 full weeks before getting a week off is a long time. Okay. So they're going to get their bye week. They're going to get rested up. They're going to come in as strong, you'd hope, as they've been this year, even though DJ Humphries is now on IR for the next handful of weeks. If they can get a win and put together another solid 30 minutes and go into their bye week 5-7, it could have been a lot worse than what it was. They need to take care of business, put up some more points, get pressure on Justin Herbert, get out of State Farm Stadium with a win, and we're going to be having some very interesting conversations over the next week and a half or so. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals, thanks for hanging out on Twitter Spaces and YouTube. Enjoy the second half. I will be here immediately following the game, just on YouTube. So if you're not on YouTube yet, subscribe. Do it. Turn notifications on. Just search Locked On Cardinals.